the vibe is what matters more than anything. We got to go and capture the vibe. Does the character make sense with the art, with the lore, and with the music? This is all one package. And if it does, then we've all done our job. And if it doesn't, we can improve on it.
Every bar, every decision that's made needs to be based on what works for that character and what does that character feel like.
The concept often is so strong, and then the only thing that can fail is yourself in the execution.
Thank you. One more time, please.
Just keep going.
Nope.
Just keep going and keep going.
Take 82. I'm not a violinist, but that doesn't seem right.
I don't want to disappoint our players, you know?
If the goal is to create something new, then basically anything's fair game at that point. You're shooting into the darkness.
There's a lot of like crazy tactical shit too.
How does it make sense? I think it probably makes literally zero sense.
We're all gamers. We're all nerds, you know?
We could spend a lot of money during the recording session, get all these instruments, and they make a big ruckus. But if the vibe isn't right, then we've failed in our job.
If you construct a great piece of music that brings people into your world, those things tend to stick around forever. Those memories tend to stick around forever.
Welcome back to the OPL. My name is Michael Hingingsing, and I'm joined here at the Analyst desk by Nathan Mendrix-Mendez and also Alex Manazier. I apologize.
Yeah, that's enough.
That's close enough. And if you're just joining us, Abyss have gone down 0-1 against Direwolves, who have taken that first game, and we're going to be about to go into game 2. Let us know your thoughts. Hashtag #IamOPL. And also, if you want to support these teams, I should let you know that this weekend, Summoner Icons are 25% off when they're OPL related for your favorite team. So check that out in store. Sweet discounts and sales, boys. Get in there. Let us talk about game 2, because going into this, obviously Abyss were at kind of a disadvantage, losing those first 3 bans. Going into game 2, what do they need to do to make sure they can claw this one back, Mendrix?
All right, so I think they need to just sort of sit back, look at their game plan again, and probably say, okay, what do we need to do specifically to sort of make sure that we can actually execute in our early game? And the big thing they need to do there is if they're going to run a 1-3-1 composition, they need to be prepared to put the pressure everywhere else around the map. So that way you don't find the Direwolves just absolutely collapsing them every single time with better communication. And I think it comes down to a fact as well, is Abyss had a really hard team composition to sort of execute on as well. So that's something that's a bit difficult, whereas for Direwolves on the other side of things, they've got these 3 guys ready to sort of jump immediately onto the first target they find their paws on, really.
There, pause, as it were. Alex, when you look at Direwolves, though, they're coming into this game. Obviously, they won't have that psychological edge of having those so-called OP champs, even though, as we said, they have been nerfed a bit in the past couple of weeks. So going into game 2, what do they need to do to make sure they close out this series?
Number one thing is to not let those early game hiccups happen again.
Sure.
One thing that we didn't mention before was that Fantix actually chose to take teleport on LeBlanc, which helps Rengar because you can sort of be wherever he is. But without that ignite, they weren't able to kill Pac-Man up top lane. Just little things like that, you know. I don't have ignite, so I'm going to play this way. He played as if he had ignite when he didn't. Just little things like that.
MVP of the early game for Abyss is that tower. Mendrick, sorry.
Well, I mean, the big thing that really, popped up that is that I think they were trying to match the idea that, okay, they've got a really strong 1-3-1 comp. Let's put a teleport onto LeBlanc. That way we can sort of match it if it does happen to go late. Didn't really work for them in the early game, but it definitely did work for them when it comes to them going towards that, towards the later stages of the game. I mean, he didn't even really need the teleport at that point. That's how strong they were going from, because they were able to just work around that. I think he realized, maybe I don't have Ignite. Let's play a bit safer this time around.
Yeah, in the words of King and his hero, Aubrey Drake Graham, you got to know yourself.
Well, speaking of knowing yourself, I mean, when you look at Direwolves, they earlier this year were talking about how they had a very, very strong laning phase because mechanically they are very strong. This, however, there was a weakness in that early game, which is kind of not on par for them, right, Mendrix?
Well, it is not on par for them, but what actually ended up being a strength in terms of that, because they were actually doing it more as macro plays. I mean, the big thing that they tend to do is just, we're going to sit in lane, we're going to hang around here, and we're going to outlane you purely from their own skills. And what they were trying to do there was actually do some macro play. Let's send LeBlanc up a bit earlier, let's try to get those kills, see if we can snowball a bit hard off it. Didn't work early, but it definitely worked towards the mid game after that 13-minute mark.
So maybe now that they've solidified their lineup as a permanent roster, they are able to work on this macro stuff, and maybe that's what they were struggling to do earlier on. So they had to focus on that laning phase. Is that what you think, Alex?
Yeah, I think what was understated was Schönfire's vision control. Him and Destiny, they were actually the ones behind all of those mid to late game plays. They were getting enough wards down to know, we've got this aggressive comp that is at risk if we go all in. What's coming to us? How can we respond to what the defense is going to throw at us? And those wards really went a long way towards doing that.
Yeah.
And that's something you really need when you're not running a tankless composition. You really need to make sure that you have that ward control. You need to make sure that you're able to draw out the enemy team and then initiate off that afterwards. If you're trying to go brunt force into a team without that sort of knowledge, you're going to fall flat on your face. And the fact that Schönfire and Destiny were able to put that off helped them sort of accentuate the strengths of their team composition while hedging the weaknesses.
I mean, I also just want to clamp down on this because we were talking about it earlier in the segment, but I want to ask about Schönfire. I mean, would you be happy if you were him with the way he played last game? Great vision control, not a great KDA. I mean, a reasonable KDA, but is he dominating?
I thought there were a lot of mechanical moments where you saw this is Schönfire. This is the guy who people once thought was like the next superstar in OS, right? And he still can be. There was that one moment up in top lane where he ran into the brush, jumped out, and knew he had enough distance to run back again and jump out again. That's something only the best players can do in the middle of a really tense game. So I thought he can be definitely happy with that performance.
All right. Well, let's get your final thoughts before we move into this game too. Mendrix, can Abyss claw it back?
They definitely have the capacity to. I feel like, if they really just have that same early game that they had before, and then actually translate it into a proper execution, they can win a game, they can take it off the Direwolves, but it's, I still think Direwolves are going to come out 2-0.
Alex, you agree?
After seeing that, I actually think this game could go either way, but if Fantix gets Rise, which he probably will because the Blanc's going to be banned, yeah, I'm going to give it to Direwolves.
All right, well, there we have it. It's going to be a 2-0 according to the analyst desk. Let us see what our casters think. By throwing to them, it's Spawn and Fish.
Thank you very much, Hingers. Really sad we didn't quite get to hear what you thought about this match, but it is going to be the second game between Direwolves and Abyss coming up in just a bit.
Yeah, so a little bit interesting because I really agree with what they were saying, that the vision control of the Direwolves in that mid game was really superb. So I think that that's something that they can continue to go towards. That's not really comp based. That's just about controlling the enemy jungle, being able to set up that vision and take away all the farm, and that's really where Direwolves won the game from. So I think that Abyss, that they would know that now. They know that they need to get Seb onto something that he has more control of. Maybe they target actually the jungle pool out of Schönfire, maybe ban something like the Rengar as well as the Kha'Zix, and get themselves a superior matchup.
Well, now Abyss do have 3 bans, so it's looking to see how they're going to hit the Direwolves with their bans this time around. Not going to be as many powerful champions left over to be taken for the first 2 teams in the first draft phase. And we did see Pac-Man bring up the top Kench last game. Excited to see if it's going to do the exact same here, or if he'll bring up a different champion for Abyss. Oh, Destiny, giving a cheeky little wink there.
Yeah, I like it. I like it when they, make eye contact with me. But, they get rid of the Rengar. I think that this is Abyss trying to say that we need to not lose the game through some of the picks that were too aggressive for us. That composition that Direwolves were able to get last game was so easy to execute. I mean, I said it in pick ban phase, but Camille, LeBlanc, Rengar all flying onto the back line with a Sivir speed up. is like not the hardest comp in the world to play. I mean, we've seen it time and time again that, you know, it's just another Civ comp, is the old meme. Hit R and run really, really quickly. And I think that that is what actually was the ultimate undoing about Abyss, because their comp was way harder to execute upon.
It certainly looked like it. Abyss and Direwolves now have finished their first round of bans. Camille, Rengar, Jace taken away. Varus, Jin, and Shen banned out by the Direwolves. LeBlanc and Rai still left open, but they first pick Ivan here.
That is a very overconfident first pick. Ivan is not first pick worthy when there are so many other champions available, and Graves is still available, someone that absolutely smashes him in the jungle. I mean, they need to have something real clever here that they're going to do with the Ivan pathing-wise, which is what Ivan's all about. And Shenfire is a good pathing jungler, but I feel like that is a stretch too far for me even to justify right now.
We did have a promising first game. I'd like to see if Direwolves keep up the consistency and bring that strength they had in their first match into Game 2 against Abyss here. Very important for them to pick up all 3 points against an opponent that is a little bit lower on the ladder to try and chase Legacy and Chiefs, who are still sitting the top 2 spots on the table. They pick up Ezreal though here, Abyss, as their second pick to go with Karma.
Yeah, that's strange because, you know, Ezreal's seen more pairing with Nami internationally, I would say. And Frey is a great LeBlanc. Just give the man the best mid laner in the game. I mean, I do agree that Camille and Rengar have been nerfed a little bit, but LeBlanc, in my eyes, is still incredibly potent. And even though there are things like Ryze and Cassiopeia that you can arguably throw against it, I just feel like you have to take the champion if it's available.
Heavily prioritizing their bottom lane here, Abyss. Direwolves look like they want to do a similar thing as they lock in Nami.
And now they've trapped themselves. I mean, I don't even think Ezreal was going to be a ban, and now they either have to take Graves or LeBlanc. You don't get both because the other one's going to be banned in second rotation. Frey's got a smile on his face. I mean, give the man priority because he has been the shining light for the team, and he deserves the chance to carry. Especially because you can just take Cassio Ryze off the board if you lock it in right here.
Abyss still do have the final pick of the match here, so potentially saving it there for Frey. We'll have to see who they give, who they decided to give priority to here, but lots of strong mid laners left up, like you mentioned. And it seems like they're going to allow him to pick up Zed heading into the mid lane.
Yeah, so that's the other option. I mean, he's a very good Zed player. Historically, that has been his go-to assassin. Now they can leave LeBlanc open and maybe ban some control mages. Echo is one of them that is kind of an assassin, but an anti-assassin at the same time. Is that fair to say? I mean, his ultimate's really damn annoying if you're an assassin to deal with.
And Echo is going to be the first ban coming out from Abyss. Direwolves take away Elise. Seems like they want to try and target out Seb a little bit here. Fantic's going to get a ban thrown towards him as Ryze is taken off the bat. We can potentially see the 2 assassins heading into the mid lane for this match.
I mean, with Zed being the pickup, you can actually leave LeBlanc open because in a 1v1, Zed still wins. And in a team fight, I mean, they do very similar things. So I don't think they're all that concerned about it now. So that makes a little bit more sense.
Even more target bans going out towards Seb here as Kha'Zix is taken off the table.
Not impressed by his Graves, apparently.
Graves will be the lock-in for Seb 2 games in a row. And this is a jungle that you were speaking very highly of earlier, Spawn. Very strong in the current meta, especially since he's able to pick up a couple of lethality items or even go tanky if he needs to.
Yeah, I mean, I really like Graves in the current meta. I think that, you know, he can build things like Black Cleaver. He can also go towards early magic resistance, so that's really helpful, especially when top side of the map looks like it's going to be pretty much all magic. And he just has unsurpassed burst damage from the jungle. He can one-shot anyone in the mid-game, so someone that I really think is strong at the moment. However, running into a tank lineup as well as, you know, heavy utility that comes out of Ivan can be difficult at times to deal with.
This is going to be a very hard team to kill on the side of the Direwolves. They've got Ivan, Nami, Sivir, and they've gone with Nautilus, but they swap it around. They're picking up Talon to head into the mid lane.
Yeah, or go into the top lane and a good old mid lane Nautilus.
Yeah, throwback to the LPL.
Throwback time to Doinby. Yeah, but I mean, if anyone can go damage-wise with Zed, it's probably going to be Talon. Not as mobile as the Zed in a fight, but more mobile around Summoner's Rift, being able to parkour over some walls. And both these comps, I mean, one comp, Abyss, is going to kill everyone if they ever get to initiate the fights they're looking for, but have very low CC. Hard to execute again comp coming out of Abyss. And on the Direwolves, they've just got it one more time, just another Sivir comp. Put the shield on Sivir, run her in there, get as many ricochets as you possibly can. Talon walks in, blows everyone up with his AoE, and it's a big team fighting comp this time around. Not expecting much 1-3-1.
Yeah, Abyss taking a note out of the SKT playbook here, going for a team comp without any initiation potential, or little initiation
No, they have
potential.
0. I like it. I mean, when you have a look at it, Talon can hop over walls. I mean, Siva runs really, really quickly. Unless this is a perfect equalizer in a choke point, there is 0 initiation coming out of Abyss.
We'll have to see how they play around that. Direwolves, though, they do have the Nautilus. They've got the Ivan as well. They've got tons of ways to just run at Abyss. The question is, Abyss going to be able to stand their ground and fight back? But Talon being picked up again, second time in the OPL, this time going into the mid lane.
Yeah, and I mean, Talon has incredible amounts of damage at the moment. If he ever melee Qs you, he gets an auto attack reset afterwards. He does like a heck of a lot of damage. And he's able to get around the map. I mean, those collapses that we saw into the bottom side are even more easily executed upon when you have a Talon, because he just hops over some walls. So excited to see how Fantix plays it. But in my opinion, and I haven't talked to Sharp about it, and I'm going to grab him after the game to see like what the idea behind this comp is, but I feel it's a little bit disrespectful. I mean, I can see how it does work, but Talon has high potential to be shut down in the mid lane, and Ivan, if he gets invaded upon, especially as a first pick, when you're blind picking, you leave Graves up, that's risky. I mean, we'll have to see how they pull it off.
And it almost felt like Direwolves were pushing Abyss towards the Graves pick as well, because they did ban out Elise as well as Kha'Zix in that second rotation. It seems like they wanted Seb to play this champion. Well, they got their wish. Now the question is Seb going to be able to do anything about it? Because we are into Summoner's Rift for the second match between Direwolves and Abyss. And although you wanted to grab Sharp later, Spawn, we do have Sharp here with Hingers just before we go into the game.
Thanks, guys. Well, I'm here with coach of the Direwolves, Sharp, and I want to start by asking you about the Ivan pick. Very bold, given the other junglers that are still available when you picked it.
Yeah, Ivan's very strong at this meta at the moment. Yeah, not much can be really said about it. Rengar's off the table. I think Direwolves think it's the...
Well, Destiny going to take quite a bit of damage. They unfortunately had to cut off that interview halfway. He's forced to flash away. Abyss only burned their exhaust on the side of Kuden.
Yeah, but they get the flash out of Destiny, which means that the matchup is even more volatile at this stage of the game. Destiny going to be squishy, had to burn, I think, a pot as well. So, no, doesn't look like it. He's got 3 potions still, Fish. Saw you putting your nose into the computer screen. I'll save you, mate. Unfortunately, not able to get Sharp Sword on the rest of it, but thought Destiny was going to die.
There you go, Abyss helping you out a little bit, Spawn. They knew you wanted to talk to him. Get the exclusive one-on-one interview going. That's sweet, sweet content for Twitter later. Making sure Hingers had none of it. But still, just an early flash being blown. We are into the laning phase for these two teams. Junglers starting at their red buff here. So Graves actually starting Raptors with a little bit of help from Rumble. I will be starting on his Raptors and red as well. In the mid lane, this is where we want to be watching. Frey up against Fantix, a Talon against Zed. This is going to be a fun one to watch.
And I actually think that pre-6, Talon wins this matchup. And historically, he also did quite well into Zed pre-6, because he was able to harass from far and had some good ability to gap close and get some damage in. However, in saying that, as soon as 6 comes through and Zed can dodge out of a lot of the damage with his ultimate, I think there's less margin for error out of the Talon. Not that he can't kill him, it's just a little bit harder.
This King taking quite a bit of damage in this bottom lane with Destiny, now being shoved in by Raid and Kuden on this Ezreal as well as the Karma. Doing a good job at that. You can already see Mystic shots coming out from Raid every time he gets behind the minion wave, and they hit level 2 first.
I mean, Raid has solo won this lane. He has hit loud every single Mystic shot. Kunin's thrown 3 Qs out, and I haven't seen any of them hit. There's the first one. However, Raid certainly being able to shove in. Kunin's allowing him to control the wave, which is half the reason that you pick Karma anyway.
Oof, that's painful.
Yeah, as I said, he hits real hard early game and has a gap closer now on his Q, which doesn't seem fair at all.
And I'm excited to see if Fancy's going to be able to use his own ultimate against Frey when he is level 6. Go invisible, avoid some damage, get some down of your own. As Seb wants to try and make an appearance in this mid lane, Fancy just cheats over towards Fog of War and threatens to use his parkour to get away from that.
And let's talk about Frey for a little bit. I mean, when you run something like a Zed, you generally don't have to run AD because he's passive is a bit of an execute when you're below half health, and it means that you can run as much lethality in your runes and masteries as you want. In saying that, he missed a couple of creeps there because he cancels some auto attacks, and it also doesn't help out your ability. So it's only your auto attacks, so he misses some. But what that means is you spike really hard early in the game as a Zed because you're able to go full lethality on Reg as well as Quince, although he might be in some trouble here.
You're taking quite a bit of damage from Fantix. He's low on mana, which is one thing Zed has above Talon. No resource meter for him to use except for the energy. But he's starting with a Doran's Shield here, Frey, against Fantix, and he's already used his health potion down to about 250 health. Does have Seb in his back pocket in case things go sour in this mid lane. Fantix does have his Ignite ready.
I mean, this is the time where, honestly, if you're Graves, you're not even looking for a gank. You're just looking to come in and shove the wave. Your Zed needs to shop. He's going to lose so many creeps if you don't come in and help him out. You can see he's just continually pushed in. So, honestly, just get in the lane and queue it and shove it into turret so Frey can run back into base.
Both junglers are sitting behind this turret here. Seb has just been waiting, and he might have been waiting for this. Fantix tries to jump in. Parkour's over the turret, forcing him to use the shadows to jump away. But that does deny some experience and gold from the minions that crashed onto the turret there.
Yeah, it certainly does. And all of a sudden, I mean, Ivan's going to look to just smite away a camp.
Hello, 112 gold there. Thank you very much.
And
Frey's dead. Wow, Fantix gets first blood.
Yeah, I mean, that's just really poorly played out of Abyss. And now they're going over the wall looking for Seb as well. Seb, if in this position, I mean, it's really frustrating as a jungler, but you have to show yourself and you just have to shove the lane out because he's sitting on no health. I mean, he doesn't have a great buy at the same time, but otherwise he's just going to die and give up first blood. That's 800 gold. And you have to say all of it's probably on Fantix. He just flashed forward with a Q here. Yeah, really nicely played. Double auto attack into Ignite. Beautiful. I mean, that's all you want out of Fantix in that situation. He plays it perfectly. And honestly, Frey and Seb played that nearly as bad as you can possibly play it.
Yep, wasted all the time in the world there for Abyss. They got absolutely nothing out of it. In fact, put Fantix even further ahead. You see he's gone back to base. He's a full serrated Dirk ahead of Frey.
And two levels. I mean, he halfway through 6, and Frey just got level 5. I mean, Frey is so far behind. There's an all-in potential now. He probably has to shop again to at least go pick up a serrated Dirk. It's just such a horrible position to be put in as a Zed, and they priority picked this for him over LeBlanc.
And we move into the bottom lane. How the turntables here spawn as Direwolves have been able to push this one back. They've got the Doran's Blade on the Sivir. All 3 potions being burnt by Raid with his longsword. Even Cruden burning through all his potions. So the sustain from Nami helping out quite a bit down here.
Yeah, I certainly would say the war of attrition has been well and truly won right now by the Direwolves bottom lane. And if you're Seb, you need to get real busy in this early game because you've got the stronger jungler at the moment. He's being shadowed well by Shenfire, you would have to say. But this is becoming just a repeat performance.
102 gold that time, only losing 1 small Raptor.
But Fantix wants it.
I was looking to try and close the gap there. And Shenfire just wanders around the rift. Very happy with how his lanes have been going. Now, the only lane we haven't really checked in with this game is top lane, but that's just Pac-Man against Chippies, who seems like they're happy farming on an island.
Yeah, they certainly are going to be. I mean, the only danger for that is if Pac-Man gets like 2 items really quickly, he will be a force to be reckoned with. But at current pace, I mean, the Nautilus is going to be a big tank, and the Rumble's going to be used for an equalizer and potentially Azonia's Flame Spitter. Really, the big alarm bells are starting to ring in the mid lane and in the jungle position. Because if Graves doesn't get ahead in farm, then the utility that comes out of an Ivan is always going to be so huge.
Fantix and Frey trading in the mid lane again. Fantix still a level above this Zed.
And just look how much the lethality does early. Even it's been nerfed early, but you know that slight buff helped it out in the early game. Oh, it just hurts if you're Frey, and he has absolutely nothing he can do about it.
We'll move into the bottom lane. Kuden's already been forced out of this lane. He goes back to base early, picks up a Sidestone for himself. But King is using this time to just pressure this turret. Raiders keeping up with CS nice and easy, but that turret's at half health. King and Destiny be able to get a good shot out of this.
And you can see that at the same time, Ivan's stealing away a blue buff. He's left that there. All of a sudden, if Civil wants, you can duck in, have unlimited mana to be able to continue to just push this lane in.
Ooh. They might be going for a dive here. Here comes Ivan. Teleport coming out immediately. Just going to blow that one from Pac-Man. He cancels it for the added
I mean,
cooldown.
I don't even think they could have dove if they wanted to.
Well,
now they're going for it again.
Here comes Daisy looking for the knockup, and Fantix is hardcore parkoured over the wall as Raid's forced to run away. He is the first one to be taken down. Suddenly there's a big old Nautilus down here. His anchor doesn't weigh him down as Cruden is going to get flashed on and a double kill picked up by the assassin.
But that was because Chippies has teleport advantage. If they just don't burn the first teleport out of Pac-Man until Chippies is there, I don't think that works at all if you're Direwolves instead. Abyss pulled the trigger too early. They've got a huge gold lead, going to pick up the first turret as well for themselves. And this early game has gone way more one-sided than game one.
Direwolves already about 3,000 gold up. They get the first turret. They've got 3 kills as well. They will trade turrets in the top lane as Seb has made his way out to help Pac-Man take this one down. So mitigating some of the loss for Abyss here, but things just look dire at the moment.
Yeah, it certainly does. I mean, however, if you're Fantix, you've got 3 kills. You're an absolute monster. You even have the luxury of being able to go back and pick up tabbies, which means that you're not threatened by the Ezreal, the Graves, or the Zed at all at this stage of the game. And he's going to continue to just look to bully. Has access to the whole of the map.
He's got blue buff as well, Fantix. He's going to be able to continually push this lane, maxing his W as well. Tons of wave clear will come out from this talent. And just making sure that he keeps pressuring this lane, making it hard for Frey to move around the map, pick up any kills to start snowballing himself. He has equalized in aggressive items, but he is a full tier 2 boots behind Fantix at the moment.
Yeah, 1,100 gold. I mean, that's what that is. Looking to face check into Seb, who actually dashes forward. I don't think you want that.
Yeah, Seb looked like he wanted to fight. Kuden is here as Fantix just says, I'm going over this wall. Harold not going to get in amongst it just yet, but there goes Frey. Ultimate comes out from Fantix, and
Now
Frey
he's
is just
stuck with Harold.
Fight! Get him! No, doesn't want to fight that one.
I mean, Harold does a lot of damage at this stage of the game. I think that that's what they were actually relying upon to try and get some work done. You can see that Shermfire is bottom side of the map, actually looking for the long lane and see whether they can kill the Rumble. Goes in now.
Pac-Man going to pop the equalizer nice and early. Daisy gets high 5, and Pac-Man is just going to flash away from the root. So it does avoid the gank coming into the bottom lane.
Yeah, nicely done from Pac-Man. Burns a flash for safety. I mean, did a lot of damage to Chippies at the start of that as well. So I like that. Oh,
Fantix been jumped on by Frey. Going to get a lot of damage down, and the shutdown for the mid laner. Frey, 3 kills behind, and an entire level still gets the kill.
Yeah, so that was what happens if you stay in lane after, you know, things had gone a little bit awry in that Dragon Rift Herald pit. As actually able to get one back, which is huge. I mean, that's a big shutdown onto the member that you wanted the shutdown to go to.
Yeah, that was not pretty. Destiny just gets a big chunk of burst there as Nami.
I mean, Kuden's sitting there with his exhaust still available and just not able to get anything off. Another time they're going to get the teleport out.
Sun completes the teleport, see if they can.
Everyone's heading up here. If you are, they've actually caught out Shermfire and potentially Destiny as well.
Destiny moves back on forward, pops the tidal wave. Shermfire is able to lock down Pac-Man. There's the exhaust going through, but Destiny's the first to fall. Now Abyss are piling on towards this top lane. King forced to use the heal just to get to safety here, but Sam
goes back in.
Gonna get jumped on again. Shermfire wants this fight. Don't quite think he knows how much damage it's gonna deal, but there is Fantix and Chippies up into this top lane to keep him safe and pick up a return kill.
Yeah, so really nicely done by Shern to know exactly how much damage is going to come out. But I feel like Abyss could have just committed super hard there onto the Ivan and then being able to get away scot-free. That's a risky play. It paid off this time around. So congratulations to Direwolves. They certainly are skirting on the edge of aggression right now. But I like to see that they're pushing their limits.
Abyss still trying to find every opportunity possible to fight back here against the Direwolves. Although it looked like it's been a very commanding game from the Wolves, there's still only about 1,500 gold up ahead of Abyss.
Yeah, and I mean, that has to do with the fact that a couple of return kills have come in from some sloppy play. Big shutdown went on to Frey, and he's been able to get a lot of farm. So, you know, it is not all bad right now if you are the Abyss Esports lineup. However, your 80 carry, certainly in a trough, has gone a very late cull and is 0-2-0. So we need to see that they start to lift because, as Destiny said, if Raid can't carry this team, they really lack that second threat. I mean, potentially Pac-Man will step up this game and provide it, but we haven't seen that consistently out of Pac-Man this season.
Now picked up the Rumble in this game. And if you could see anything from that SKT game from the LCK, Rumble does come online even if he's been shut down in the lane itself. So to see if Pac-Man's going to be able to put on a similar performance to what we saw.
Yeah, what was Huni? 1-3 into like
7-3.
Yeah.
0-3 into MVP of the match.
Yeah.
Frey's been doing a really good job as well. Has only died once to Fantix. That was the first kill of the game. His opponent's picked up kills elsewhere, but now he's 1-1. But Pac-Man's in trouble, does not dodge the snare, and Fantix coming out as well. That's going to be an easy kill onto this Rumble.
Yeah, it certainly is, but you can see the damage that comes out of Pac-Man. I mean, he is well and truly online. That's his first death of the game, and he's kept up in CS. But this is, I guess, the same fault that we saw in game number 1. Whenever Direwolves have the inside track, they're able to beat the Abyss squad there, and they just continue to punish. And you can see that they're actually not even rotating into that side of the jungle. Just run right now if you're Seb, because your mid lane is going top. He's not coming to help you anytime soon.
And Surefire is just taking camp after camp away from Seb here. And he's Ivan, counter-jungling a Graves.
I mean, when you have 3 people there, it kind of helps with a counter-jungling effort. But I still don't know whether it's justified the first pick, as Raid picks the wrong way.
Ooh, jumps into the tidal wave. King gonna go aggressively for that's Raid getting taken down. Good synergy from the Direwolves.
Certainly is, but I think that if Raid arcade shifts down, then he just gets out. To be honest, he had the Karma there, he had Graves there waiting for him. I don't think Direwolves would have been aggressive enough to chase into Fog of War blindly. Just mistake after mistake, unfortunately, right now for Abyss.
And that puts Direwolves 3,000 gold in the lead. Kuden gonna get locked down there by the bubble. Destiny been showing his skills on this champion so far. And Seb forced to come up into the top lane to hold this turret against the Direwolves duo. Frees up the map again for Ivan to move around, but for now he's just content with farming up his own jungle. Haven't seen him in his side of the map for quite some time in this entire series.
Yeah, certainly haven't. I mean, Shenfire has been incredibly aggressive and really has done a number on Seb. Seb's still relatively strong. I mean, Graves takes a lot to shut him down. However, in the team fight, because of the redemptions that are going to come out, because of the tankiness that is Chippies and the ease of the initiation that is the Direwolves lineup, 3,000 gold, it might be enough, honestly, to get it done in these team fights.
Fantix was able to pick up the red buff away from Schönfire there. We'll use the blast cone to get over the wall, and now we have to see if he tries to go for the kill on towards his AD carry and support. Tries to dodge out as much damage as possible. Now he's the one that's getting locked down, gets scattered out by the vision from Karma, and forces the ultimate to get away. Fantix a little bit over-aggressive there.
I mean, certainly was, but really there's not all that much punish apart from an ultimate that's on a relatively low CD. Now that Schönfire's up here, might even actually be able to get a little bit of a return kill.
Slow does come out from the red buff. As they call out Daisy, a teleport's going to be coming out from Pac-Man as well. This taking quite a bit of damage. Start this one off. Chippy's going for the dive. They've locked down Kuden. He's going to be the first to fall. Good equalizer comes out, but Raid's being flashed on by Chippies. Schönfire taking up this turret for the team as the rest of the members collapse. Sam trying to do whatever he can against Chippies, but it's a big old tank in front of him. Frey gets exhausted immediately. He has to hop over the wall. They only lose King, and now they go straight for the Zed. Only Sam is left alive, and the Direwolves pile on in underneath this turret, trying to split the aggro. Oh no, Chippies is going to go down, or is he? He gets healed up, and somehow the Direwolves all live except for King. My goodness, that was fantastic to watch.
What a clean ace out of the Direwolves. That's a perfect turret dive. They're able to get up there early. Nothing really goes wrong for them. And unfortunately, because they're just so far behind at the moment, Abyss, there's no damage threats that can really contest with all the utility, all the tank stats. Direwolves now 6,000 gold in the lead at only 17 minutes in. And, oh my... This is just overconfidence out of the Abyss lineup. I mean, Raid steps forward when he probably should have stepped back. Great zoning bubble, splits Raid back away from the turret, and then they just fly in on him, land a great hook, and they're able to burn him down in a heartbeat. I mean, really, what more do you want out of a turret dive? They split focus when they need to, they come back together, they juggle turret aggro. Everything goes perfect for them, down to like even mitigating the threat that is Frey before he's able to get back underneath the turret and landing key skill shots.
Destiny is fantastic with these bubbles the entire match. I don't think I've seen him miss one.
He was stunned. Destiny hit a stun target. Schönfire hit the Q when there was no CC. Nautilus flew in, and then he hit a stunned bubble.
They're all great pressing their buttons, Swan. I'm not going to try and justify that one anymore. The reason why they're professional players and I'm not.
But right now, Fantix and the rest of the Direwolves putting a number on the Abyss squad.
And again, Schönfire spending some time inside of Seb's jungle trying to take this one away. Brambleback's a little bit angry. Schönfire says, please don't hit my friends. And take him down. But slowly, Direwolves trying to bleed out Abyss here, it seems. They're closing in on about 6,000 gold lead against Abyss.
Yeah, I'm not really convinced it's slow either, as Fantix actually goes in on Frey, takes out 3/4 of his health without an ultimate or ignite. So thank you very much. That's definitely a one-sided affair. Fantix, for me, has been the real difference maker in these games. Just being able to bring the presence of mind of when he needs to split push, what his actual goals are around the map. And Direwolves look great. I mean, they look so coordinated. They look like they're on completely the same page. And even though it was a very risky draft through the jungle pick and the mid lane pick, they've made it work.
We're seeing more consistency coming after the Direwolves, which is key. That's what we wanted to see from them, especially now they've locked in Schönfire as their only jungler. The question is, although they're doing well against Abyss, and there's still a chance for Abyss to fight back here, but if they do pick up a win, I want to see if they can replicate this against teams that are higher up on the ladder. For now, they're looking for an engage on towards Seb. He's trying to hop, skip, and jump away, but will get locked down. Chippies goes on a killing spree as he takes down the jungler from Abyss.
And as I said, just another Civicom. Press R, everyone run underneath the turret. You've got the big tank there in Chippies, who has a point-and-click CC out of the ulti. And you're right, Abyss's comp has 4 damage threats, so never really out of a game until it's over. But at the same time, the tank stats are there, the utility is there out of the Nami and the Ivan, and they're going to need a couple of team fights in a row, Fish, to actually pull this one back. And with the fact that around the map, Fantix is just wreaking havoc, I don't think that they have the time to be able to get it done.
He's got 2 lethality items picked up, especially the Dustblade. Given that he has some form of invisibility, that's going to hurt a ton. Looking for his Hex Drinker next. Raid will be able to pick up Blue Buff for himself. Does have a couple items, but no Trinity Force being picked up by the Ezreal just yet. It's already 20 minutes into the game.
Yeah, I mean, he's incredibly delayed. When you are behind, it always feels better to go for some AD as opposed to the Trinity Force. Gives you a lot of tankiness and movement speed. You don't really need that. Instead, he just needs to be able to farm up. He needs to cash in that cull and have a good team fight, because 0-4-0, definitely not the game that we expected to see out of Raid, especially when they gave him priority on the AD carry pick.
Direwolves have done a really good job of shutting him down. Chippy's now moving back into the top lane. He's 3-0-5, an absolute menace in these past 2 games. One game, we saw him on the Camille, now back onto a stable tank. Seems like he's very comfortable playing both roles.
And you know, this is what Destiny said. They said that he needs to be able to play carries when he needs, but also, at some point, you just have to be willing to jump on a tank if that is what the meta requires. You need to be able to team fight as well as split push. And Chippies certainly looks like he's gone away for those 2 weeks and worked on the fundamentals and come up very strong.
Definitely has. And again, for Abyss, the only person we really look towards in these games has been Frey. And even he had a shocker of an early game. Just to kick things off, did kind of mitigate his losses, but I don't quite think it's going to be enough here for Abyss. They're slowly getting bled out. Now they're 8,000 gold behind. And that's just from incremental advantages.
And, you know, do want to dispel the myth that even though the Frey had a bad early game, he's mitigated the risk. I don't really agree, because he was getting shoved in. And what actually blew this game open was the fact that Fantix went bottom and got a double kill, because he was incredibly accelerated. And there was nothing Frey could do to chase him out. That costs you the game. Even if you're able to get back in CS because your team funnels everything of a side lane into you, it's not good enough. I mean, if he's going to be their superstar player, he can't afford to get first-blooded 1v1 by the Direwolves mid laner.
As the Direwolves again controlling vision around the red buff of Abyss. Baron has been completely swept out and hidden by the brushes placed down by Schönfire. Everyone wants to kill these Raptors, as Schönfire just wants them to be friends. The rest of Abyss slowly collapsing, trying to see what part of their jungle they can take back from the Direwolves.
Yeah, and I really don't know if there is any jungle. It's a big risk here for Direwolves to actually start up the Baron, just because the perfect equalizer, no matter how far ahead you are on a Baron pit, destroys any team. So they will back away. They have, you know, the Redemption as well as the Locket coming out of Schön, so they will be able to tank up a lot of the equalizer. But Pac-Man isn't that far behind that you can just completely forget about him around these neutral objectives.
Abyss just trying to hold on to whatever they can for now.
They go back over, and Abyss aren't actually responding. That's just going to be a free Baron at this rate.
That's going to be taken down to half health. Nobody from Abyss making their way towards the pit. Finally, the Scrying Orb does come out, but it's been hidden in brush here. That's going to be taken out. Chippies actually goes over the wall, trying to lock down Seb, so he can't go for the smite. Does flash over, doesn't get the steal. Seb is going to get obliterated to kick things off. And now the Direwolves just chase on towards Abyss. Pac-Man's going to fall. Raiders forced to go over the wall, and they get a double kill here, going over towards King. Direwolves tear them apart.
Yeah, they certainly do. The Direwolves just look way too coordinated. The decisiveness is back. They're able to pick up 4 clean kills as well as a Baron buff. 23 minutes in. This is as clinical as they get.
17-3 right now. This is what we expected coming into this game. The entire desk called it a 2-0. I believe most of the tips back at home were as well. They've finally broken the base here, and we're just 24 minutes into the game. And Abyss just looks like there's no way for them to come back at this point.
Yeah, and you know, Direwolves right now, they have the superior 1, they have the superior 4. Their team fight looks absolutely fine. It looks like Abyss are out of answers, and after a promising early game of Game 1, this really has fallen apart rather rapidly. And you just want them to succeed because you can see that there are things that they are trying to implement into their game, but the Direwolves' vision, their stranglehold has just been way too comprehensive for Abyss to really stand up at all.
I mean, we see teams in the OPL improve week to week, not just the top few, like the Legacy Chiefs or the Direwolves, but we see teams like XL5, Abyss trying things every single game, but when you come into a match against one of the top 3, and you look to try and improve an aspect of your game, normally you see bits of signs here and there, but eventually you can just get shut down by such a dominating performance. Direwolves now just looking to push out the bottom lane. There is an inner turret for them to take. That should be a free turret. Abyss should give that one up.
Yeah, certainly should, especially because Pac-Man and Sev aren't there. So it's going to be, you know, all of the members just pushing into pretty much only a portion of the Abyss squad. There's just so many questions. I mean, Frey goes towards the melee Z, forces Pac-Man onto a like magic damage top because he doesn't want to play LeBlanc even though it's left open. However, this is probably going to be the last big fight we see.
There goes an equalizer, nicely placed by Pac-Man, but Direwolves group up for the redemption. Heal back up to full and turn the fight around. Pac-Man already gone into Zonya as he's forced to flash away. There goes Daisy onto Frey. He's going to be the first one to fall. Now the rest of Abyss getting locked down, but Analyst Bentlix has gone in. He goes on a rampage as the Direwolves hunt down Abyss, get a clean ace, and that's going to be game 2 going to the Wolves.
Yeah, it certainly is another clean dive executed. They all go aggressive like a unit. They're going to be able to pick up the Nexus turret, and this should be game, Fish.
It definitely is. Second turret's going to fall. Nobody from the side of Abyss is left to try and contest this one. And nice and easy from the Direwolves. As Chippy's probably going to die here.
Nah, he's all right.
Up goes back, you know, hooks back to the Nexus. Wolves survive, so nice mechanics coming out from Nautilus.
But I liked it. Hashtag Nautilus mechanics.
Direwolves do pick up a clean 2-0 here against Abyss.
And this is what the team needed. I mean, they dropped Sybil. It's a team choice. You heard it. It was not hard, an easy thing for them to do. But Shern comes in, and they look great. I mean, their vision control was stellar. Their ability to control the pace of the game and go aggressive when they needed to. I mean, that's the kind of series they needed, and they put it together, and it looks easy.
And it's great to see from the Direwolves. Yes, we mentioned this during the game. They are against Abyss. They're expected to win this match. They are expected to win this match, but at the same time, doing it in such a convincing fashion, being very consistent, now they could probably bring it to the top few.
And I mean, even though you're expected to win this match, I mean, everyone's on an even playing field, you know, we hear it all the time. If you have a bad game, anyone's going to be able to beat anyone. I mean, I think that we saw that with Sin and Legacy. They're probably closer, but that's a good example of, you know, Sin came out and surprised a good team and were able to pick up a very good series victory. Abyss could have done the same thing here today. Their first game, the first 13 minutes, was what we wanted to see out of them. I just think that they fell into bad habits in Game 2, and everything fell apart, especially when Frey got solo killed. I mean, that is unforgivable. You can't get solo killed if you're the superstar of a team.
You certainly can't, and that is the first series of the day done. We still have another series on our hands, but for now, let's give it back to the analyst desk to break that down.
Thank you, guys. Well, there we have it. Direwolves 2-0 over Abyss. And gentlemen, let me start by talking about this draft, because in this pick ban phase, obviously Abyss had their bans in the first round this time. But as we look at them shaking hands there, let's take a quick chat. I mean, Direwolves looked very good over this series, aside from that first 10 minutes of the first game.
Absolutely. I mean, the big thing about it is this initial early game by the Direwolves was a complete turnaround. It was a massive mid lane focus in this game, and essentially with what the jungles were doing around, and ended up paying off for Direwolves initially there. So really, it was great for them to sort of bounce back from their sort of failings in the first game, and then really increase their consistency throughout the entire game.
Alex, when we look at this draft, Sharp said in an interview that was interrupted by some action, which is fair enough. He said, "Look, we prioritize Ivan as the second best jungler after Rengar." I don't know if anyone really believes that. I don't know if they're just saying that. But what are they trying to execute with this team comp if that's what their stated aim is to play, is to pick up that Ivan with high priority?
Well, look, if Shenfire plays that well every game, he can pick whatever he wants. I personally think Graves is the second best jungler in the game after Rengar. But, you know, Shen can still be aggressive on that Ivan. What I was really impressed at was how well they set up Fantix for those roams. Pretty much every single advantage they got from the early to the mid game fed a kill to Fantix.
What I feel really when it comes to looking at Ivan, he's more of a niche jungler. And again, it all comes down to that pathing. If you look at it, Shenfire felt, well, my pathing, I honestly feel it is going to be stronger in this game against Seb, then why not go for it? And it really did sort of pay off towards it because he was able just to sort of match his pace and maintain everything he needed to. Support junglers, they can do their work when they need to.
All right, meanwhile, Abyss, looking at their team comp, just very, very quickly, Mendrix, let us know what they failed to do when they picked up that team comp.
So the big thing they wanted to do, I mean, when you pick a Rumble specifically, is you want to look for those team fights. You want to look for those moments to actually get them and then use that fantastic equalizer and take control of the team fights from there and take control of the game from there. They never found those team fights. Every single time was Direwolves who made that make that happen first. Or perhaps there was a bit of misplays between them that allowed Direwolves to capitalize every single time.
All right, well, we've been talking a lot today about Pac-Man stepping up. Obviously, that early game teleport where he kind of just cancels it for no reason was a bad play. But what it did mean was that Direwolves were able to show some early game consistency, Mendrix, and it also meant they were looking for that very good team fight.
Yeah, absolutely right there. As you can see, they're just jumping straight into it. This is the thing we're talking about, consistency from the Direwolves. And they immediately saw that and noted, yep, his teleport's been burnt. This is free for us to make this dive work and get a nice early advantage for the rest of the game. And as you can see, very cleanly executed across the board. How do you feel about that, Alex?
I just think you take what the other team gives you, right? In that case, the moment they saw that Pac-Man cancel his teleport, they were like, hey, we have a Nautilus. He's got a CC on every single ability. He can come down there and turn this around for us. And they did exactly that. And I think it's just, you take exactly what they give you. If you don't do that, then that's a failure to recognize what you're capable of. You know?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, especially when Nautilus has a passive CC as well. It's absolutely ridiculous for you not to take advantage of that in that particular situation.
Well, after the early game, we obviously move into the mid game. We saw a bit of tower juggling there from Direwolves. What does this tell us about their team fighting, Mendrix? I mean, what does this tell us about their improvements they've made in the break?
What it speaks specifically is the fact that they have amazing communication, amazing team play. For them to actually execute this level of tower jungling to the point where everyone's walking away on a slither of HP and get the kills, it means just absolute confidence in just not themselves, but their own teammates at the same time.
And you know what? Given the talent level of the Direwolves, I wouldn't be surprised if no one said a single word during that. They just knew exactly what their role was. They knew exactly when to get out of that tower range. It was just perfectly executed.
Yeah, you saw it earlier as well with Ivan. Ivan was actually just sitting down the entire time. Like, firstly, he initially started going, okay, I'm going to sit here. Actually did a little bit of a lean down forward. And he soaked up the initial 4 tower shots. And then afterwards, Abyss tried to make something happen again. They just continued to soak up tower shots between the teams and get the kills anyway.
All right, well, just before we go to our best and fairest at Radiant Metal, I just want to very quickly get from you guys some thoughts on what this means for Direwolves for the rest of the season. Obviously, they look pretty good coming out of this, that second game. I mean, are they going to be pushing for second, for first place, do you reckon, Alex?
They can push for whatever they want. If they play every game like that game...
Legally, they're allowed to.
yeah. They can go for like -0 place if they want. I don't know. But if they play every game like that game they just played, I could see them as OPL champions.
Wow.
And they're just really right now, what they need to look to set up for themselves is get as high up as they possibly can, because if they manage to do that, then they're going to actually be in a good spot for that gauntlet system, because that's a big thing now. Now that we're at 6 weeks past, you're about setting yourself up for that exact moment.
All right, well, let us now take a look at the Radiant Metal tally for today, and it's going to go to Fantix, who had a massive game 2, as well as a very, very, very good game 1. And Mendrix, what stood out to you for Fantix today?
The initial talent pick afterwards is really confident for him to really go in and say, you know what, I'm going to take it to you, Frey, and ended up getting that solo kill as well. And pretty much from that point on, he was able to use great influence throughout the entire match and actually take it towards the Abyss.
I think the fact that he didn't pick Rise was impressive enough to me. You can't sleep on Fantix. He's one of the best mid laners in the region. He can light it up on anyone.
All right. Well, Spawn is now standing by with Destiny, support player for the Direwolves, fresh off his victory. So let's throw to him now for the interview.
Thanks so much, Hingers. I am standing next to the victorious Destiny. I feel like we keep doing this every week, Destiny. Did you have a good break?
Yeah, we had a good week, 2 weeks of solid practice, and we played pretty well last game.
Yeah, I thought that you guys actually stepped up heaps in the last game. Talk to me about your vision control, because you and Shern especially seem to be on the exact same page. You're setting down your vision nice and early, and that's giving you free roam into these ganks. Is that what was behind some of the decision of, sticking with Shern and, unfortunately having to let go long-term teammate in Sybil?
Yeah, definitely. Schönfire has shown that he's improved week to week, and it's sad that Sybil has left the team, but we've just got to continue working with Shern, and the vision control was evidence of how well we're working together.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely saw that in the jungle support synergy. We talk about it a lot when you go past River. However, another person that stood up a lot was Fantix. We've seen you guys team fight a lot. However, in this series specifically, Fantix went back to, the old 1-3-1 style and wasn't really missing a beat. How easy is it for you guys to now change between the team fighting and 1-3-1 setup?
We're very used to it now. Now that we've spent a lot of time changing up our styles, it's going to help us in the best of fives at the end of the split. We're comfortable on team fighting now, and we're comfortable on 1-3-1, 4-1. So we've just got to keep working at it, refining our play, and yeah, we'll go from there.
All right, I've got a really specific question. You guys are the only team that prioritize Nami, only team that prioritize the Ivan as heavily. What is it about the two picks that you guys like so much?
I mainly picked Nami because it's a really good hard counter to Karma, because her laning is very aggressive, so I just heal the poke and I win the trade every time. And same with Sivir into Ezreal, we just push them in, we get pressure, we make plays. We've prioritized Ivan because we wanted to keep practicing the team fighting, so the two picks really work because he can stun with his Q and I can stun with mine. So the layer of CC is really good and our coordination is really good. So it works out well.
Certainly did come through in that set. I mean, I feel like at the moment, you guys unfortunately dropped to Chiefs and dropped to Legacy. What does the second half of the season look for, like for the Direwolves? Is it still building towards that gauntlet run? I mean, what are the goals now that you've, solidified the roster and look to be back to your best?
Yep, we're just going to continue working with the next 4 weeks that we've got. And we're waiting for Chiefs. We're waiting for the Chiefs game. I'm not interested in any other game besides rematching Chiefs to prove them wrong.
I'm pretty looking forward to watching that game myself. However, guys, that is only Series 1 done. Congratulations to the Direwolves. They pick up a 2-0 victory over Abyss, but don't go anywhere as XL5 are going to take on Sim.
Looking for the knock-up advantage as hardcore parkoured over the wall as Raid's forced to run away. He is the first one to be taken down. Sully, there's a big old Nautilus down here. His anchor doesn't weigh him down as Cruden is going to get flushed on and a double kill picked up by the assassin. They only lose Key and now they go straight for the Zed. Only Seb is left alive and the Direwolves pile on in underneath this turret, trying to split the aggro. Oh no, Chippy's is going to go down, or is he? He gets healed up and somehow the Direwolves all live except for King. My goodness, that was fantastic to watch. Taking out Chippy, actually goes over the wall, trying to lock down Seb so he can't go for the smite. Does flash over, doesn't get the steal. Seb is going to get obliterated and kick things off. And now the Direwolves just chase on towards Abyss. Pac-Man's going to fall. Raiders forced to go over the wall and get a double kill here. Okay, there goes Daisy onto Frey. He's going to be the first one to fall. Now the rest of Abyss getting locked down, but Enormous Fantlix has gone in. He goes on a rampage. As the Direwolves hunt down Abyss, get a clean ace, and that's going to be game 2 going to the Wolves. Yeah.
Chosen of the moon.